Welcome to the Love Them Knives channel. LTK here. Stonewash blade. What do we got? CK knives. Matthew Christiansen. This is his design called the Critical. And I'll tell you what, I really like this knife. I was going to make some joke about the word critical, but man, I'm not being overly critical, am I? No, I'm not. But I'll tell you what, I look at Fanatic Edge online on his Instagram, and he has some of these knives pimped. Oh my God. I should have printed out some pictures for you. Just look on Instagram, Fanatic Edge. He's got some of these, and he has lost his mind. He has done some really cool stuff. Actually, I sent him a couple knives. I didn't send him this one. I needed to keep this one for a little while at least. So, no, I didn't send him this one, but man, I'm considering it. When I get the other, I sent him a couple knives, so we'll see how that goes. It's maybe a laugh and a half, but hopefully he won't be. I mean, he'll be enthusiastic and he'll do some stuff for me. Very creative. So, what do we got? We got a model number here. We got S35VN steel. Yeah, you digging the pivot? I'm liking that pivot. You got the holes milled out here. So yes, they have skeletonized the frame, and you don't have to look underneath to understand that. It's right here in front of your face. And yes, they have anodized the backspacer, and they've made it into a weapon. To me, that's a lanyard hole / impact tool opportunity, or if need be, an emergency, don't you think? Warncliffe style blade. It's a good size knife, folks. It's pretty good size. I was drawn to it when I saw it, and I'm not necessarily just jumping all over the place after Warncliffe style blades, but baby, this speaks to me. It does. And here's your lockup. You got a hardened steel insert, as you can see there. Lockup about 25%. And of course, there's the screws that hold the lock bar insert in place. And yeah. And it's centered. And no blade play, no lock rock. I mean, it's a Bladesmith series from Kizer. Hello. Here's one thing. If this thing is not an impact tool, it's a pain. It's laying the pain on your palm. A lot of times when I hold a knife and I flip it, unfortunately, I do this. Right? So what's happening? This is jamming into, well, you know, that's why they do jimping sometimes on these back spacers and around the back of the knife, right? Because they know that this is laying in the palm of your hand sometimes and provides some degree of traction. So what do? Let's put a pain device or a piercing tool on the end of this knife. So I guess that's my only gripe on it. I mean, I don't know that you need to do this. I mean, I think this could have been more rounded. I don't disagree that it kind of is cool that it comes out to this kind of for stylistic purposes. You know, if you look at the total design of the knife. Although I'm not sure this had to be quite at this angle, but what we could have rounded that a little bit more. It's not sharp, obviously, but it's almost a nuisance. It depends on how you hold the knife. Obviously, if you hold it like this, well, if you hold it like this and flip it, then it's not touching anything. I don't hold it like that. I don't know about you, but I do this, right? Do you do that? And so I got it digging into my palm. Now, it's finding traction. That's for sure. I mean, if that's the purpose, amen, brother. But I think it's doing a little bit too much work there. I think this could go, but would I do this? Would I modify this myself? No, I don't think so. I mean, then you're taking the ano off and you got to redo that. It's not worth it. I mean, it's not that painful. It's not that much of a, it's a niggle. It's kind of a little, annoyance, I guess is what I'd call it. An annoyance. The action's really good on this knife. It's good. I mean, they got bearings on the pivot and all that stuff, so it executes out really well. Yeah, it's got pretty good detent. Yes, it does. Of course, I'm holding on to the... Yeah, but I mean, you want to know if this thing just kind of flies out. No, it doesn't gravity flip that well, even though it seems like it should. The detent's just moderate. It's maybe a 5.5 to a 6. And it's not a snappy flipper in that regard. It's more like a swinging gate. Because there's some heft to this blade. Well, check that out. Hold on. Let's see what we got here for blade stock. Yeah, 0.15, but this doesn't go out that many decimals. You have 4 millimeter. So there you understand. That's almost a 0.16, probably a 0.158 if you actually looked at it like this thing will calculate. See? It's more like a 0.157, 0.158 when it comes down to it. Now, how fat is it overall in the hand? It's about 13 millimeters. That's not huge bad. Let's go to, just a little over half inch. Just right there. Just right there. It's obviously a contoured, titanium scales, milled pocket clip. Got 2 screws here. Can't take it to the left hand, right hand tip up only. Yeah, good looking pocket clip. I like it. I think it fits the knife pretty well, actually. And of course, you got screws going through here, through the backspacer, securing that in place. Yeah, I kind of like, I like this. Do you like that anode? Wild looking pivot collar. Of course, in the middle, you got the typical pinwheel type pivot that Kizer uses a lot. But yeah, good looking knife. I don't know. I was just drawn to this design. Look at here. So you kind of got this Barcalounger flipper tab thing going on here. No jimping in particular here. And it's pretty smooth because the whole thing is stonewashed. So Warncliffe blade, you've got pretty good thick reinforced, material coming down to this tip. You got a little swedge ground in here. Comes back into a full stock here and then on down. Jimping here on top. It's fairly smooth. Of course, this is, like I said, stonewashed before, but yeah, it's meaningful though. Nothing here where you can really go forward, but you've got a sharpening choil, so that's helpful as far as resharpening the knife. S35VN steel. It's not an M390. It's called Critical. And yeah, and there's your model number. Here's your box. The Critical, Matthew Christiansen, Ki4508, and 3.6 inch blade. So it's not quite a full 3 3/4 inch. But it's close. It's really close, depending on where you're measuring to. I mean, I'm looking straight at the tape measure, seeing 3 3/4. But that's at the base. As it goes up here, 3 5/8. So you can see, that just depends on how you roll with that. About 93, 94 millimeter blade. Overall, 8.5, maybe a 16th over inches, and 21 and between 21 and a half and 22 centimeters overall. So, yeah, how does that compare with, come here, Hollywood, here you go. So, it's kind of in the ballpark as a standard size EDC carry, although this is so much lighter. You know, this is going to be a heavier knife. This is titanium frame lock. This is G10. So check it out. Pretty close, huh? Pretty close. Let's change the aspect ratio a little bit. Let's take a look. Now the Para 2 looks a smidge smaller, which it actually is in reality. Just a little bit smaller. Let's pull Mr. Man X. Yeah, a little bit smaller in reality. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. So, other than that, what do you think it weighs? 5? 5.5? 5.7? I'm going to guess 5.4. I'm going to guess 5.4. I haven't looked at the paperwork in a while. I've had this. Oh my God, 6.3. Jesus Mary. Okay. Well, there it goes. There goes my estimation skills. That's a heavy little booger, isn't it? 178 grams. Wow. So what's that all about? Why would it be 6.3? I mean, yeah, it's titanium. Well, you got the backspacer. You know, I've got this sitting on my table next to the Mjolnir, which is over here somewhere. Here it is. So this one's like 5.7. Of course, this is milled out a lot in here in these scales. But this kind of milled out a little bit. I mean, look at the holes, right? So that's interesting that this would be that much heavier. Another half ounce heavier. Strange. I wonder. Let me look inside. Well, there's nothing here. They didn't mill anything out on the bottom side, and of course the top side is the holes along here. So, but what do you think about the back side? That's nice. I mean, I think the pocket clip goes well with that. I like the backspacer in there. I think that helps protect the edge of the blade, especially if you got other things jingling around in your pocket. Nicely done, kind of like this big old tank tread type heavy jimping design here. I like this pivot ano work here. It seems to be a knife that's getting a lot of attention, especially by knife pimpers. So this might have to go under the pimper modification process. It'll be interesting. It would be. I'm trying to think of what I would do to this. I hate to tell the guy that's the artist how to do what he's going to do. It's kind of like act on your own inspiration. But yeah, it's a good looking knife. I like it. I like the design. Well, okay. And it actually will be a knife too. Yeah. So it actually is pretty sharp from Kizer, from the production facility, which is always nice if it comes that way. That's a pretty tall blade there, isn't it? That's pretty good size. It's kind of a bad boy, isn't it? That's kind of a bad boy. Like the backspacer. It's at least if they do something, you know, on the backspacer. I do prefer it to standoffs to a degree. Especially, you know, it's still a pretty open design even though you throw in that backspacer. Good looking, you know, contoured titanium scales. Really nice looking knife. And, you know, as I've said in some of my other reviews, since it's the Bladesmith series, this is the outer box, you know, but the inner box is this crush-proof dealy bobber. Dealy bobber. That's technical terms there. And then you get a nice big zipper pouch and a couple of screws, paperwork, and a microfiber cloth in there with the Kizer logo on it. So that's nice. I mean, this is always, you know, it goes in a little plastic thing and in this sleeve, and then you've got like for your little flashlight and whatever other gear you want to put in there. And then, you know, so you got protection in here to protect your knife in a crush-proof box. Really good, sturdy boxes. I like them a lot. And then, you know, here's your outer box, which is equivalent to about a ZT box, you know, what you get with their little bubble pouch that they, you know, they throw their knife in, and then with the paperwork, and it all goes into a box like this, and it's like, that's gonna crush, okay? That's not very sturdy. So, but this inner goes into this outer, and it's quite a package. I like it, I really do. I like the Critical. I think it's a good looking knife. Feels good in the hand, you know? I mean, no lock rock, no blade play. That's crazy. Not on these knives. I haven't had problems with them. I've had one knife that came back from Wes, my buddy in New York, that was an SLT, and it was off center, and for some reason, he couldn't center it. I don't know how he was trying to. I couldn't take the pivot screw out because on the back side, it's really smooth like a baby moon. There's no place to stabilize this on the backside. And it was Loctited in, or it felt like it. So I don't know. But I just sent it to Kizer, and they just sent another one. They just replaced it. So that was pretty good. Good customer service. That was the only one I've ever had like that I've seen even. So my experience has been really good. And yes, I have taken these apart, put them back together. So apparently the hardware is adequately hardened. I mean, I've never had any strip screws or any problems, no missing screws, you know, that kind of thing. It's good. No jimping here, no real traction there, except the bite, the dog bite that comes and gets you right in the middle of your palm of your hand. And then you get this too. But, you know, is it difficult to disengage this? No, it's not. This is real easy, even though the cutaway's not real deep here. So it's almost even with the lock bar side, but still that lock bar side is thick enough and available enough to easily disengage. Feels good in the hand. The action's really good. The detent's solid. And no, I'm not gonna even try and shake it out. Could you shake it out? I don't know. I'm not gonna give it that much. It doesn't, you know, it's not one of those fairly apparent ones that just, you know, is like a 4.5 or a 5 detent. This is a stronger detent than that. But it's not the snap. I mean, it sounds a little snappy, you know, but it's more like a swinging gait. It's kind of a, because there's some mass there in that blade, that 4mm blade. Thick stock. Yeah. Good night, though. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. For hanging in for 18 minutes and 50 seconds. Wow. You should get a gold star for that. But instead, you just get LTK saying to you, you know what we do on this channel. We love them knives, so stay sharp.